Hello, hello, I am Rangru.
And I'm Graham.
We're here today for a 1v1 from the Wargame Bootcamp Discord rookie tournament. We decided
Hi.
to save our brains from the brain rot from a bit. We're
Thank God.
on A Nuclear Winter is Coming. Who's playing?
So on the left-hand side, Rang, we have Warden playing as Israel Unspec. And then on the right, we have God's Caliber himself, Milk Tea, playing as Entente Unspec.
Indeed, very standard, decks. Nothing really too fancy. No Moto, no Mech, not even any Marine gangs. So,
Wow.
probably just a straight up brawl.
Yes, and we're seeing two actually, very common decks, two powerful decks. I'm sure, the community loves both of them with all their hearts. So I'm really curious to see how this actually plays out. I mean, if I was playing in a tournament, high chance I'm bringing one of these two.
Yeah. And
Ooh, the
L17
can go for the snipe. Nice.
goes
On the
hot.
Oh, it gets both?
Oh!
Yeah, nice. But the Baz is coming in for a quick little intercept. And he actually gets a hit right there with his Sparrow. He might get... Nah, I think that L17 should get away here. Yeah.
Yep. Bazza is not fast enough in that case, and we've seen the never really actually get a hit.
Well,
Oh.
he gets the one. He
Yeah.
gets it down to 1 HP. But, I mean, the Baz can be down for a while. Both players opening with their cheap fighter alternatives, L17, the MiG-21, which actually that's one of my favorite MiG-21 variants you can get in the game, and then the cheap F-15.
Yes, definitely a very scary aircraft just with the double weapon slot missiles. You can get those Gucci one-hit kills.
Yeah, I mean, as we saw right there, it's really nice because it's just made to intercept helos, and so just for a cheap, I think it's 90 points for the L17K, and so you can just dip in there really quick and just get some value, get a little air detection as well. So I like the opening move from both players here, and we see Milk Tea setting up with some the Czech Marines with the not Marines, the Czech shock troops with the M20, yeah, because they have the T21 right there, yeah.
Get some good standoff capabilities and. Yeah, Milk Tea going for more of a standard Delta deployment here. It's usually see people trying to do Charlie Alpha rushes, but he's got a very good position because he does have that little town just north of it, which does allow you later to push into Charlie.
Yeah, well, in the opposite direction, Warden's going for the India Foxtrot push, which is not as common, just because it's really hard to hold or contest Foxtrot for a long period of time because it is so close to the spawn point there in Echo. But he's got Roviets inside this town here. Proletary 90, just one squad. That's not going to be enough to hold it back. Israeli paratroopers along with armor coming up here. And this could be a pretty strong little push here by Warden.
Yeah, he's still trying to get the rest of his elders to the other side of the road. Fortunately, the frontal armor is saving them a little bit. As Drop 2's trying to do his goddamn darndest. But with the extra fire support being brought in with these armored vehicles, this is a surprise little push.
Yeah, he is going for a cap right here, so it's going to give him that +2 starting pretty early. I do think that, yeah, there's no CV currently coming out here for Warden. So Warden's kind of like, I wouldn't say he's all in on this push, but he's invested pretty heavily in setting up a base of operations for Foxtrot. And there's really nothing in front of him right now. His Merkava 3B did take a hit from the Apelus, but that T-55 is not going to be enough, I think, to really kill it. And plus he does have the Magok there.
Yeah, it's probably a pretty critical time for Warden to really capitalize on the Foxtrot push, because you really do need to get into the central part of Foxtrot if you want a good chance of holding it. You cannot just hold on to the outer rim. We've seen time and again people try to do that, but it's such a tight and narrow area, and just the rest of Foxtrot is such a good defensive position, the actual central portion.
Yeah, you don't want to get stuck in those outer rim sieges, Rangru.
No. You want to get right in, over the castles, sap the walls, and just
right into the core.
Yes, into the citadel.
And so we do see the Roviat are pushing up. I like this from Warden. He's clearly has a sense that, hey, I have an advantage here. He knows that Milk Tea is really kind of like putting most of his forces into the Delta Alpha line up there in those towns. So he's kind of all in here. He does have to commit to this. And like you said, you really want to be in the middle of that town, in that forest, because if not, you just kind of get bombed to death, right? And then eventually you get overwhelmed, or there's too much artillery, and you lose a bunch of units trying to hold a position you never could take. And so I really like that he's committing to the aggressiveness here.
Yeah, he really just needs a little bit more infantry, and he doesn't really have a whole lot of reinforcements coming down south. He's actually getting a lot of stuff up north to try and set up a decent defensive line, which I also understand, but with his reinforcement column being brought in from Milk Tea, and of course it's so
Yeah.
easy for him to reinforce. Echo is just right, yeah. He should be able to win out his infantry engagement and lock down his side of Foxtrot.
Yeah, it does feel like to me, if you're going to commit, if you're going to, open the game with this kind of push, you have to then commit to it. Because now that he's kind of diffused his resources, right? And we see a bunch of them going into the Charlie position. But there really wasn't an immediate threat to Charlie. While he obviously was outclassed there, it just didn't look like anything, God's Caliber wasn't committing anything really aggressive there. He was more concerned about defending his position. And these is really paratroopers. I mean, he could have got these up here, but now, like, with Proletariat 90, Patabranchy there, this push is probably done for the immediate future.
Yeah, it's just going to be a pretty nasty defense. I mean, the Pados themselves, this is perfect territory for him to use historically accurate Boombar ATGM.
Rangru, what's the Boombar? Has that been featured in the Unit of the Week?
Yeah, and I believe a Wildlife of Wargame like years ago.
Wow.
Some, like, deep Rangru lore at this
That's
point.
some real deep Rangru lore, like old cuts only.
Yeah.
And so, with your deep, knowledge of the Boombar, is it even remotely real?
Yeah, by the year, like, 2012.
Oh, okay, so it is at least real.
Yeah, it's real.
It exists.
There's gonna be a comment section about the whole prototype thing in the 90s and the JNA before the collapse and blah, 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 blah.
So what you're telling me...
There's
a high chance it's going to be in Warno.
Yes, of course. It's the next Power Creep DLC, which is bound to happen, like, 4 years from now.
Right, nice. I can't wait till that comes out. We just reuse your old content as
we can.
As we see the Wardens reusing captured T-55. So they just got blapped right there in Delta. Oof. That conquers him. Oof, this thing just annihilated.
It does seem that Warden is starting to probably focus a little bit more now from the north, considering he's just really given up on the Foxtrot here. Oh, he's getting a CV into India as well. But I guess from his position, if he used to just capture Charlie, capture Delta as well, and then neutralize Foxtrot, it's going to be a lot of CVs. Yeah, it would give him a point advantage, but he needs to do that because he's on a +4 bleed right now.
Yeah, I mean, he is going to cap India pretty shortly, and he does have a CV coming out for Charlie as well. But I do think he's invested too much resources for Foxtrot to get nothing out of it. Because, I mean, we just hear there's a Merkaba 3B that's 155 points, the Magog is 100, there was, 40 Roviet, now there's 2. And then obviously the Israeli paratroopers who kind of let their, army, their ground troop brethren just kind of charge in there and die. But, yeah, I definitely feel like he's going to have to do something else, because I'm not sure if pivoting back towards the middle Delta, long term, is going to work out for him unless he just starts to trade really well.
Yeah. It does suck for him because, yeah, you can have his decent force in Foxtrot, but unless the point is neutralized or dead, it doesn't mean anything until actually winning the match here. And Milk Tea is doing a decent job of the positional battles up north, just where those Pados are in, threatening Charlie. Yeah, it's such a good location for him. And it's just a good location for him to still eventually push into Charlie if he was to bring up a decent force.
Yeah, and here the Pados paired with the Czech recon infantry, they're just annihilating these Roviet squads. The Pados have only lost 1 HP. The Czechs obviously taking the brunt for their Yugoslav comrades here. But Warden, you really don't want your infantry like that. I think trading at maximum range with the elite infantry.
No,
they're just gonna get whittled down there. Yeah, that's what we see. That they're already down to 7 HP. One squad almost completely annihilated.
Yeah, those Roviats are really just to fill in the line so the crazy Israeli fire support can provide fire support,
which we actually haven't seen much of. There, one thing that I always look for when I see the Israeli decks is where's the Kernas and where's the Mars 290. That's what I want to see get used in the game. So far, we've obviously none of them. Oh, and the Czechs here just popping some sniper shots right here. The Boombar opening up on some poor transport, and yeah, so Warden definitely feels like he's lost the initiative here, Rang.
He just doesn't really have much of a decent force on here. He has a decent defensive line at least along Charlie and Delta. But it still can be threatened, because he is having to invest, as you see, so much into CVs right now, getting the Akazuri into Delta, which I guess he wants the point bleed, or the point advantage. But as you can see with our God Vision, he is heavily outnumbered if an actual push was to occur.
Well, that and he is down. So even if he takes like Delta, right, and he gets a CV cap, all that needs to happen is Milk Tea puts a CV in as well, and he maintains his point lead because he does have the positional edge in this matchup right now. And while Warden could try and put a CV into Foxtrot to decap it, we've seen that game before, right? He just doesn't work if you're holding that basic corner right there. Like it has to be a really close, and it's typically desperate. It just that's why I said, like, I think you commit and you take as much of Foxtrot as possible, and that buys you a ton of time, especially if you had sniped the CV, or you just don't even bother with it.
Yeah, and we're seeing Foxtrot is getting some heavy reinforcements. Super Gleb, I believe, trying to go in hot in the Magak. Got a bunch of helicopters, yeah, the M84.
Does he see it? I don't think he sees it.
I don't think so.
No, I'm not sure what he shot at. Oh,
run for the Macbeth, I believe.
Macbeth, okay. I put his POV on, but it didn't look like he had vision, but it might have been after the missile. I think the missile had already fired. Yep. He lost vision, but it's firing for yet, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, TV guidance.
Yes. But it's not this area.
No.
Because this area is goated.
Greatest missile of all time.
Oh, and he actually completely pulled their Merkava 3B. Like, Warden... Oh, I didn't even notice that. Warden... Yeah, that Merkava 3B said, nah, I'm not needed over here. I'm heading over to Delta. And that's actually a really scary thing, for me looking at that. There's no AA whatsoever. We know the Baz has been hit by the Neva twice. And so he's going to try and use, just his smoke micro, I guess, to keep it alive. But there's Conquer Zims, and there's... Oh, a side track for the Conquer Zim! My God, Vision just told me that, Ranger.
Yeah, that was like a missile from God. Yeah, such a Gucci snipe. That's what.
It's a missile from Marks.
Point tank.
Oh yeah, 155 points just down the drain.
That's not a good thing to lose like that. Really, definitely putting Warden even more on the back foot now. He is actually pushing in the Charlie Town, and he is going to be able to clear it out.
Yeah, raw weight of numbers here, gonna get him inside. You saw the Zeldas helping as well, though now they're kind of tangled up in a 50, like an autocannon 50 cal battle with some BTRs, which is kind of funny to watch them try and shoot. Oh, there they go. The BTR is getting the big dub there, but he will take that Crossroads Town, which is pivotal, right? That's a very important position you want to hold if you're gonna either push in a Delta or do an Alpha push. And to be honest with you, it might make more sense for him to maybe probe Alpha, because God Vision, there's not a lot in front of him. There is the M84AN and the Conquer Zim team, but taking Delta, I think that might be impossible in a 40-minute just 1v1 game. Like I don't think he's taking that town right now. Especially
against Yugoslavia, because they have some pretty damn good infantry, especially in that
OP?
town right now. Maybe a little bit. It was MP40s and MG42s,
And also Milk Tea has like the entire Yugoslav like helicopter force kind of just flying around Foxtrot right now. Mi-25s, Mi-17s. To be real, the amount of firepower he has, he could get a little aggressive if he wanted to. The Macbeth's dead. These helos could just rain havoc on those Israeli paratroopers, and then they just won Magak there. Both players have had the opportunity to get really aggressive multiple times, Rang, and you can just kind of tell that they haven't been quite willing to commit to that aggression.
And, once again, it just comes down to that game feel. This is rookie tournament compared to elite or veteran. And you can really just tell the difference. Because, you're just a little bit more conservative when you play a little bit lower level. Because you just don't know what risks you are. Because a lot of Wargame is just kind of, even if Recon is kind of just guessing.
Well, at least the Recon in Wargame works better than the Recon in War No.
They have Recon units in War No?
You wouldn't know by playing it.
I thought it was just like extra light vehicle tab.
It's more like it's a good way to put it. Extra light vehicle tab with some overpriced infantry. Right?
Yes.
It sounds like the Magellan.
Except
the Magellan's got the spike.
I do like how Milk Tea's Mi-25, he's been flying around all match and actually needs the bloody refuel, which is rare for helicopters to survive that long.
And he's never even shot anything, I don't think. Like, I don't even think it's fired a single... No, nothing. Like, he's literally just been, like, on patrol. Like, he's hunting down, Croatian partisans in the Balkan conflict. The Balkan Wars. But... Yeah, Mi-17 had to get a little fuel top up as well. He's actually had a lot of... Like I said earlier, he has a lot of helos that he hasn't used that aggressively. And the Mi-17 is one of the best... infantry support helos you can kind of you can really bring out with the deck because for 35 points you do get the S-13 rockets, and those things I guess just 20, but they're 122 millimeters and they shred infantry.
Yeah, they can even blow up light vehicles and tanks quite reliably as well. It's a very good reason you see that in like the Gorno combo in regular USSR.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm really curious to see, like, it feels like to me, Rain, which we're about to watch here, is both sides building up as much resources as humanly possible until it's like an eventual go time. Because we do see the M84 coming in here, so that will stop the the Delta cap here for Warden, which will pretty much solidify, a 90, 80 point lead here for Milk Tea, which means at some point Warden's going to have to get aggressive.
Yes.
The question is...
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, 2 Mars 290s coming out.
Oh, wow.
Oh, what's at the shoot? Yes. Yes, I need the hot MRS action in my life. Where are they targeting? Oh, they're both shooting. What are they going to target? See, this is the one thing I missed from Steel Division 2. And I know we say it like probably every other cast. I just really wish I could see what he was targeting before I have to watch in suspense with everybody else. So let's see. Is it the town?
I think he's trying to go for the tank CV in Delta? He somehow sees it? He does.
Yeah, he does see it.
Or maybe he's just guessing.
Let me see. No, he doesn't see it. He's just guessing. I mean, it's not a bad guess, but that's... Oh, he's legit trying to use the Mars 290 just a CV snipe.
Yeah.
No, I don't like that.
No, you need to just nuke at Delta Town and then follow up with a gazillion Zeldas.
Like, the HE CV snipe, like, I get it, but you have no recon up there. You have no vision. You're just hoping that one of those large-ass, rockets makes impact with something. But really, it's only going to kill it if it's a direct hit on an infantry CV. Even, like, if you got a direct hit with one of them on the M84, it's not dying.
Yeah.
So, it just feels like a massive waste. And then, plus, it's like a giant, like, hey, guess what, God's Caliber? I have 2 Mars 290s on the field, 180 points. You know what I mean? It's just, the better you get, they do that mental math, and they just start to figure out, like, what you actually have in front of you. Though, I guess to be real, both of them have a ton. But in Delta, Ward doesn't have a lot. Milk Tea could probably Q-move across the open field here, World War I style, and take the position.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of fire support either. We are seeing a McCurva 3B being brought out. Hopefully this one doesn't get shy-shotted. I mean, you've got the para defense up north, which will do decent enough. But, yeah, both sides...
A Plowman coming out as well.
Gonna be plamming the field.
Yeah, he about to plowman some Israelis.
Yes, considering this is just turning into artillery war, probably take us to a ×2.
Oh, we're going to the ×2.
Already, 2150, let's go. ×2. We'll slow it down if we get to a major assault here. Because, no, you're right. Both sides are just building up. No one's really wanting to commit.
Yeah, this 100% turned into... Oh, he's going for... I mean, this one might get lucky. Oh, you see?
Yeah.
That's the problem with it. It's just like, you need a direct hit with it. The Mars 290, I mean, if one of the pros want to correct me if I'm wrong, but I really don't think that's a sniping piece. Like, it has such... Sure, it has high HE damage, but the best thing is that it is when you use it in like an infantry assault. Like, you smoke up the town and then hit the position with the Mars 290, and it's killing and it's stunning everything in that radius.
Yeah, that's why you use the more modern SPG pieces like the Caesars, the S-90s, etc., or the artillery row. Yeah, because that's it's accurate, and you can put down more, because it's like a game of Battleship, right? You can put down more fire over more grids. Where with the Mars 290, it's very much, I'm gonna shoot this one area and just kind of hope. And sometimes you can hit the area and never actually hit the unit because rocket artillery.
No, absolutely. Because he's bringing up a lot of infantry. I mean, I honestly think it would have been better if he just held them. You smoke up that town, and like a lot of players, they'll pull back a little bit their infantry from the smoke, right, to get them a little further in the town, and then you just... Yeah, so now he's hitting the town, and we see it doing damage. I mean, though, he lost a couple infantry, models right there. HP went down some of that. I guess he kept firing over and over again. It would eventually have, some real impact. But he does have a supply vehicle, Milk Tea does, so... he's not really gonna kill anything.
Yeah, because really you want to use those Ma-290s as a stunning hit.
Yeah.
So then you can rush up the Zeldas. And he is building up a Zelda force and he's getting some fire support. So I think he is going to send it hot into Delta sometime soon. But he needs to just, you know, it's about timing your artillery barrages in that case. That's really the critical part.
Right, absolutely. I mean, because we're really at this point where it's like base defense now for both players, where they're just like, I'm going to keep dumping all my points into the front line here. And it kind of makes it impossible, I think, for either player to get any strategic advantage. So it almost just makes it like inevitable, I think, that Milk Tea wins, barring some utter collapse. Because like there's so much shit on the map.
All over the place.
Yeah, like where are you going to like you know, push through, get a breakthrough that allows you to get like a, you know, a +2 or something, or even like a constant +1. So we do see smoke being dropped here by Warden, more impact, so this time but mostly, excuse me, in just an open field. The Strop 2 did take a little bit of damage. And, oh, I think it's about to go down, Ring. Yep. It's going.
Slow it down at 1550. So 3, 2, 1 times 1.
What was that? It just got blap. Was that a Merkava? That was another Merkava 3B got annihilated by a Conqueror.
Oh yeah, he got
as it went into the forest. Yeah, and so this, you know, the smoke coverage really wasn't that good there. And you know what? That's from the exact same place. I think that the initial one was killed.
Yeah. Yep. Concourse is really getting.
Yeah, and then he just sniped another Zelda there. Just really poor smoke placement here by Warden, covering pretty much everything but the one unit that could kill his transports. Yeah, like, I mean, oh my, these poor Israeli troops are just getting blapped in their M113s. I mean, I haven't seen that anywhere recently. And so you just, as they try and pull up here, you see a little dismount. Yeah, oh, there's some Shia. Oh, those are the guys that walked. They were the original guys.
Yeah. Okay, here we got the Roviets are firing, but we do have the 2 Prams firing. We also have the Plaminess, which is almost ready to go. So unless Warden can get out of this initial breakthrough point, I think he's just going to get rather stunned quite shortly.
Yeah, and these Roviat are rolling in here now, right into Pedabranchi. As you said, the Plamans are about to open up here.
Oh,
and
he hit his own dude!
Oh. Yeah, he just blapped his own dude. It's a blue on blue, blue on blue.
And look, it's going to be blue on red.
Yeah, the Plamen just getting a really good strike rate. They're just, honestly, a perfect use case for defensive artillery. And you just see the Hilo horde ready to go in. Rangbrew, is this a Hilo rush if that goes in?
Oh my god, that's more than 5.
More than 5. Yo, could I get a tournament organizer?
Let's call in
the flag. Yeah, I'm throwing the red flag here. Challenge. I'm curious when that goes in for Milk Tea.
Yeah. That's a lot of helicopters ready to go.
I mean, I will say the Roviets have made it into the town. So the Proletary 90, they're still there, full strength. There's some Czech recon. You know, it is elite infantry though, I believe that shock infantry, excuse me, along with the Pahotas. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, I think the Proletary 90s alone hold this down.
Yeah, we are seeing a bunch of Israeli reinforcements. It's gonna take them a while to actually get to the front line here. I mean, the Merc 3B can do damage, but it's gonna come down to this dude. He's bringing in more dude, but it's just gonna be bits and pieces. He's lost a surprise.
Yeah, he is bringing up a lot more infantry here, and really what we see now, Rangru, is the meat grinder. It's like these two decided they want to be, you know, mech decks. Like I said, like everyone wants to cosplay as a mech deck. They might as well just bring them because it's just going to be a non-stop infantry funnel here. I think it's a Delta as they both view. I mean, if you're Milk Tea, like why not? Like because you have the one, you know, an 80-point lead, excuse me. So I mean, sure, he can get aggressive somewhere if he wants to, but he hasn't really shown that inclination. And if Warden just wants to funnel Israeli infantry into that Delta town, like why not oblige him?
Yeah, might as well just play the easy defense. It may not be the sexiest Rin, but it's a Rin nonetheless.
Hey, a dub's a dub.
Yeah.
And the Mars 290s really haven't been that effective. A couple of like decent shots here, but honestly, their best shot was against their own men. Whereas the Plamen, some of these Plamen hits here by Milk Tea have been really Gucci.
Oh yeah, look, he's got like the double tap here, hitting all the hammers.
A whole like that was 2 squads right there that just got annihilated by the Plamen. We see more infantry. Pedabranchi 90 coming in as well. I mean, a Kernass would probably be more impactful here than just lobbing, more 290 shells, because they just really haven't accomplished anything.
Yeah, he's got some okay stun and hit share, but once again, it's just the timing. Especially Wargame, because the stun doesn't last that long. You really have to like time things perfectly to actually give you that positional advantage when attacking.
No, you're like absolutely right. Like, because if you time your stun hits well, it can be decisive in the in whatever engagement that you're in. But it's not like like some other games where it feels like a permanent effect where unit just never reorganizes itself and they just auto die because they were suppressed. Not to call out any Eugen game. I don't want to call it out. I've done it too many times today. These Israeli paratroopers, they've gone, they're all in right here in the town. They're like almost completely surrounded here. They're trying to like replicate the Independence War. But the Pedabranchi and the Proletary 90, I mean, they kind of got them locked in place. A 4-stack of Zelda, that's gonna be more Rovia. With a Plum and a little red, little red on red, but that's okay. Red 4, they're all right with that. They don't care about sacrificing a few dudes.
Yeah, and most of the frontline dudes are heavily depleted. We're seeing a reinforcement column of some more proletarian infantry, but we're also seeing a 4-stack of Roviat, so finally, Warden has got a good foothold in the town. Oh, the Cobra coming in hot, getting some good fire support. So he is starting to break it.
Yo, raw wave numbers right now is getting him in this town. He may kill every single Israeli male in the country to achieve it, but he is getting there. Oh, the Mars 290 stunning his own paratroopers once again, and now it's the Pedabranchi, and it's a 20 Pedabranchi 90 against 40 Roviat, and let's see who gets this out. Proletary 90 are going to go down here. More trying to get into the town. He might actually succeed, and so actually some nice little infantry micro here. They're going to get a little double team action on this Pedabranchi 90 as more Flamen shots come in. Oh, and there she is. Kernass deploying right now. Neva opening up, trying to get the hit, and it does. It's going to go ahead and die. And Kernass hits nice, but it's not great, I don't think, because it does die.
Yeah, it's not really rough. I guess with only 10 minutes, you can kind of be affording to lose not aircraft. But there we go. It's really just coming down to these Israeli paratroopers. They're doing a bloody good job just being the core shock force in this push. They've been jumping up and down, left and right, just trying to deal with all these Hugos.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a non-stop, like, bloodbath infantry battle here in the town. Both sides just following as much as they can. But as you can see, like, if you zoom out, it's clear that, Warden's kind of running out of steam here when it comes to this infantry fight. It's just, there's still more reinforcements coming in immediately here for Milk Tea. It's clear that he saved up points to get that Kernass. And, it just really isn't a decisive, move for him right there.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for his helicopters to come into play, because worst comes to worst, he can just eat in a respectable number of helicopters to the front line, and there's no real, as one Macbeth to stop him.
Yeah, no, he can 100% at any point in time do that. Like, I guess it's like his oh shit button, it's like, oh god, I'm about to break. I have all these Mi-17s and the one Mi-25, I guess it's the command helicopter.
Leaning out the cockpit, pointing.
Are they moving a little bit? There's a little bit of movement there. I mean, just to kill the Zeldas. More infantry jumping in. Nice hits there, actually, by the Mars 290. Those ones were pretty good. Lost stun, doing some HP as well. But the Proletary 90 just, living up to their reputation ring, just tanking, going toe-to-toe with the Israeli paratroopers and the Broviets. The Mi-17s just really hate those transports. Like, they got a blood feud with them.
Transports must die. It is to see quite impressive, just these 290s just been constantly brought in this town. We've seen Cobras being brought in. There's no real okay, there's the Never all the way back here. And
what happened to Strop? What killed it? Oh, there it is. I see it. I see it. He's chilling in the back.
Oh yeah, he's just vibing.
Yeah, he's just vibing. He big. We call it big chilling. We see more infantry coming up here for Milk Tea and M84A as well. I mean, the Plomins, they've been shooting, pretty much nonstop, but they had to get rearmed because they're not just sitting by the fob the way the 290s are. Actually, he doesn't have a fob. Never mind. Doesn't matter.
But no, Milk Tea is still in a very good position. There's only 7 minutes left in this match, and I think even if he was to kill the CV now, it's going to be pretty tight for Warden. He needs a +2, really, if you want a decent shot of winning this match.
Yeah, I'm not even sure like if he's even gonna be able to get that M84 because there's more infantry being pumped in here. We still have the Mi-17s which can deploy if they need to stop a breakthrough, but that's why I said earlier, like Milk Tea is perfectly content to just duke it out in this town right now. It's just, and now he's gonna feed the reserves in. I'm kind of surprised we didn't see the reserve spam a little earlier, just because it's just pure grind, right? There's no, there's really nothing special about this fight right now. And here we just see more of these poor reservists with their Thompsons and super bazookas going in against the Israeli ground troops. The paratroopers pushing up, getting a nice snipe there on the Strop 2. And honestly, yeah, if he moves them out there, maybe try and get to the town complex. Yeah, he's actually what he's going to do, making a run for it there, and he could get the snipe. Oh, but then my 17s, yeah, it won't matter.
In the back line.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Wow.
That wasn't a kill, that was an execution.
Yeah, everyone pour one out for the Israeli paratroop squad right there. That just, ooh, big rip to the homies. Mi-17's now committing here a little bit more. And let's see if we've seen some nasty shots. Mi-25 here as well. It's just, I mean, this has been his back pocket the whole time. We see damage starting to come in here, though. The Mech doing some work. Funny enough, Milk Tea does have the Czech seaplane. So it'd be really funny if you brought that out right now.
Oh, wow. I completely forgot they even have a seaplane.
More Tevzas coming in. Both players kind of doubling down on maybe using the helicopters to support their push here. But there's, I mean, from here, like, Milk Tea's like got pretty strong control. Strop 2 just doing Strop 2 things. These helicopters up in there. Oh, but the Tevza B's getting some hits there with their Hydras. The Strop should go down. He's on 1 HP, yeah, and he will go down.
So now he has an opportunity here to try to exploit these helicopters, and by God, they are going in ham with the miniguns, but still just so much crap he still has to break through. And Milk Tea can just keep funneling crap to, slow it down.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do see, oh yeah, I thought those hammers might try and push somewhere else, but no, they're maybe Alpha or something. And that's like kind of like where, what point do you realize like you're really, like just you're extremely tunnel vision right now if you're Warden? Because for the past 15 minutes, me and you have been casting a block by block, like Stalingrad level fight in Delta. While I'm sure the viewers will find it really entertaining to have just this, amount of time of just non-stop action in a Wargame match, it's going to accomplish absolutely nothing.
Yep, he's not going to get anywhere near to actually getting those points, and it really just came down to the opener. He needed to really commit behind that Foxtrot, because like you said, you got to go all in. You can't just like do it half-assed, because you just lose that initiative. And he was so close, really, to getting Foxtrot, at least the center part of it, and then you can just, really just put a lot of hammer down, you could say.
I think he panicked a little bit. I think he realized, like, oh, wow, I have 80% of my points here in Foxtrot, and there's just not a lot here from Milk Tea, so he just started dropping all of his points everywhere but Foxtrot. Whereas in reality, at that point, you have to say, hey, I've succeeded in getting a push. Most of my units are still intact, which, they were. We still see the Israeli paratroopers, the Bagok still down there. Original units that he brought in that just never accomplished anything. And then he's automatically on his back foot everywhere else. And so then here we are, 30 minutes later, and both sides just, rocket arting their own troops.
Yeah, and then with the whole army build up, so to speak, Rudge. It just comes down to defender's advantage, and both sides just built up massively. It doesn't really matter for Milk Tea. He can play a defensive game. He's done that really well.
M84A trying to tangle with the Merkava 3B, getting a hit on it because the Merkava 3B is panicked because he's just been in the almost in the middle of that town with multiple rocket barrages. Mi-17's coming. The Mech died at some point. I don't remember when that happened. I didn't even see it go down. Yeah, big rip to Israel right here. That nation doesn't exist after this match.
Yeah, the entire male population is just
it's
down
gone.
the drain.
Yeah, it's absolutely gone. And then like this is why going for this fight if you were Warden has never made sense to begin with. I mean, you knew Milk Tea even had reservists. So you knew you had Proletariat, you knew you had reservists, you had Parabranchy. There's no way you're breaking through that in that town. Like, even here we are at this point in the match, the Shiatet's being committed. He might be able to lay some claim to have taken the town at the end of the day. You know, you can hang his hat on that. But even then, I don't think that's real. There's still more reservists coming in. Oh, this is the SU-7. It's firing. Oh, and it missed.
One job.
One job, SU-7. Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah, he won't even take the town. There's more Proletariat coming up. Even more, you know. The Thompson-equipped reservists holding off the vaunted Israeli paratroopers in this Southeast Asian town. Hot action.
Yeah, and there we go. Pretty standard 1,100 KD difference here, but what a cyber grind that was.
I'm telling you, that all these dudes that we cast rank, they all want to play Mech. They just don't want to say they're playing Mech.
Mm-hmm.
So they make these unspec general decks, you know, and then they really both should just brought mechanized decks.
Yeah.
But then they went and got the Gucci artilleries.
Yeah.
Well, actually...
And the super heavies. People really want the super heavies.
They didn't want the super heavies, even though the most impactful super heavy usage was it getting sniped by a Conqueror's M on a bridge.
Yeah, and another one getting side-shotted by another Concourse M.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, both got sniped by the Conqueror's
both
M.
got big blabbed. But no,
yeah,
it's...
so well, 300 points, just bye-bye.
Yeah, but no, it's just very interesting seeing the more slower, methodical approach, and I think this is a match which really does showcase just... Well, first off, if you're going to make a big push, just risk it for the biscuit. And then secondly, don't grind the Yugoslavs in a town fight.
Well, it felt like to me almost more like a Steel Division 2 game in a way. Because like the sustained action, like it's pretty rare in Wargame where me and you just cast like 25 straight minutes of non-stop fighting. Like just they picked a grid square and they're like, we're doing battle right here. Right now, no changing. You know, that's more of a Steel Division thing because, you know, the lethality is lower in Super 2, right? So, like, units survive, there's a fallback mechanic, the pace is different. So, whereas in Wargame, typically, like, the actions are short, very violent, and then they're over, and one side has probably set himself up for success for the most part, like, 80% of the time. And whereas that one, like, they were just like, hey, we're going to do battle right here, and let's just throw it down like old school.
Yeah, neither side really took advantage of the maneuver warfare aspect, especially on this map. This is like one of the top tier maneuver warfare.
This is Moto
maps.
Gang map.
This is Moto Gang, Roy Cat, right down the road map. But neither side did that. But for God's Caliber, it doesn't matter. He had the point advantage.
God's Caliber didn't do it because he was God's Caliber, and he knew he had the dub secured.
Mm-hmm.
And I will end on that note.
Good. And I'll end on that note too. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Usual, please just take it easy.